billions. He still has time to write a book, a great book, become an author. He's an entrepreneur as well. And hallelujah, he's a pastor. I remember when I met him, one of my questions with book launch was, hey, Bafu, how do you find all this time to do everything that you do? But without further ado, here's Menze. Pa 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 pa.
Thank you, my great sir. That is very humbling. I think let me hit the road running. And good evening, great people, the game changers. My name is Mdumiseni. My surname is Menze. My late father gave me this name when my mom was 3 months pregnant. And he said his name is going to be Mdumiseni Osenyangweni uYesu ithemba labakholwayo. So those times there was no CT scans to tell whether it's a boy or a girl. And then apparently I became very ill when I was a baby, to a point that he gave up on me. Then he said, God, I wanted a boy child, but unfortunately not a sick one. You can take this one. Only to find out that he was dedicating me unknowingly to God. As a young person. So I was born in a very big family, but I had like 10 siblings, but one left us to be the Lord 2 years ago. 3 brothers and 7 ladies. So I grew up in a family that was very strong in faith, like a very religious family. My father was a very strong intercessor. If he's sitting alone, the only time that he is not praying is when he's not in a meeting. Most of his time is spent praying. So I grew up in a family where we were told faith practice was for all of us, where we're told that it's fasting today, whether we knew about it or we didn't know about it. It was such okay, we are fasting today. We didn't even know why are we fasting. We're fasting for what? We're told, okay, today we're going to church. We didn't even know why we're going to church, like a night prayer and all those things. So I grew up in a system where there was no boy or girl's chores. So everyone woke I had to look though after the cattle. I was a shepherd. I grew up as a shepherd. I had a routine of waking up every day in the morning at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock to milk the cows. After milking them, make the wood fire, take a big pot outside, boil water so that we can bath and go to school, walk 5 kilometers to school, walk 5 kilometers from school. When you get home, if there's food to eat, if there's no food, you have to go and fetch the wood to go to the forest and get the wood so that the family can cook. And my mom loved having a lot of wood, standing and dry wood sitting there just outside there. So I did everything. I know how to train horses, to ride them, to train cackles, to yoke them and all that. I've done that. Then apart from that, I know how to do a laundry. If it was my turn to do a laundry for everyone on Saturday, I had to go do the laundry for everyone. I know how it is to to cement the ground of the room using the cow dung. I know those things. I know how to make a maize meal using a stone and all that. I grew up there. So one of the things that the family was strong about was faith, then also the discipline. So I grew up in a hard work culture, and there was a routine and system in for us. And apart from that, we can go to the second slide. My mother loved me. One of the things about me, the reason why I've got confidence is because my mom loved me. So I think she made me to feel content. I feel enough. Like I don't doubt myself. So I think that's one thing that one of the great things that they did to us. So what I would like to share today, that journey. So let's go to the second slide, my brother. So there is two things here. So that journey took me into two areas. So as human being, there is a subconscious mind and there is conscious mind. The conscious mind, it's an intellectual mind. It decides, it accepts, it rejects. The subconscious minds, that one does not decide. It's genetically programmed by where you were raised, how you were raised, the environment, the words that were spoken over your life. Then they shape you. Yeah, they shape your behavior. You find a way, like the way you decide, the way you do things, and so forth in life later on. It is because of how you were raised and how you were programmed as you were growing up, the words that were spoken over you. So subconsciously, that is the where most of us as people are. Like we operate from subconscious mind because that is where we were raised and because of the environment that we were raised in and so forth and so forth. And the words that were spoken like over our lives and so forth. So we've got this self-image that we have about ourselves. So sometimes I'm in a space where I have to interview young people for good positions, and sometimes like it's so difficult for me because they can't present. They went to best schools like in the country. They went to Vets University. They went to UP, University of Pretoria. They cannot be able to express themselves. Sometimes, like I try to throw it to them. I'm trying everything to give it to them, but unfortunately, and it's because of unfortunately how they were. It's because of their perception about themselves, because of how they were raised and the way they were spoken over them. So then, in my situation, I believe that I was raised in a very systematic environment. So one of the things that in this generation that we are growing up, our children are growing in an environment where it's not systematic. One of the issues that we have, that's why all they know is wake up in the morning, they go to gadgets. By the time you get to them to get ready for school, their one eye is looking at the gadget while they're dressing up. They go to school, when they come back, it's the gadget, and all their life is YouTube. Is that there's a war that we are battling with. So with us, when we were raised, you knew that in the morning you wake up at this time, you go to the mountain to take the cows, you milk the cows. From there, you go to school. From school, you fetch the cows, and so forth and so forth. So that instilled like a discipline, that instilled like a system, that instilled a routine, that instilled like a particular behavior. And so now, therefore, one of the areas where the opportunities that were missed when I was raised up, besides of the great system that they developed, my family for me was I've got a boxed up personalities, like the personality. And the reason why is because I had to live a life that they designed for me. So I didn't have an opportunity to decide, I can do this, I can't do that. Like everything, like, okay, you're gonna do this. You can't play football if football is sin. You can't go and hunt animals, hunting animals is sin. Although, so I did those things, stealing them. So I was not given an opportunity to decide for myself. So to make decisions. And there was no context, like why are we doing this, what, like, it was just okay, no, you're not going to play soccer, it's sin. There was no explanation what is sin about soccer, and so forth and so forth. As much as they were into prayer and fasting and so forth, then the word of God was not much taught on us, because I think it's because also where the environment they were raised in those churches, it was about prayer. The word of God was maybe 3 minutes or 5 minutes of it. More was prayer. And we don't blame them because what they did was the best that they could do for us. But apart from that, we can go to the second slide. So then one of the things that have shaped me and made me to be where I am, the anchors. So there's a saying that success, it is when opportunity meets you ready. So one of my anchors, by the grace of the Lord, I realized my purpose. I like my purpose at a earlier age. And also I'm a visionary, like a strategic. I knew exactly when I was in grade 10, I knew that I wanted to do mechanical engineering. And my brother tried, by all means, wanted me to go and study in ML Sultan, then to do electrical engineering because his friend did electrical engineering and his friend did very well within that space. And he said, I want you to go there. And unfortunately, he couldn't be able to, like, because I decided already that I'm going to do mechanical engineering and I'm going to Cape Town. And at the age of 30, I'll be married and having 2 children, having a house and having 2 cars. That was what I worked towards. And when I got to varsity, to CPUT, I worked my socks off. It was very challenging for me coming from the village. The first time I touched the computer, it was when I was at varsity. I learned English. I learned to speak English at varsity. I came from a school where we were taught in Xhosa. Everything was in Xhosa. I also came from a boarding school, but the boarding school was in a village because our parents, they believed it was better for them to send us to boarding school because if we stayed at home, we're not going to be able to manage with the chores, house chores, and also education. So everyone in my family went to school, like the boarding school. And so which also assisted me a lot in a way. Then there I learned therefore to be, because of the system that was brought up, the discipline and so forth and so forth, it was not going to be easier for me to get lost in the system and so forth and so forth. And I'm very grounded. One of my anchors is very grounded. And also I decide when I've decided on things like I'm boxed up person. So like my friends at high school, for example, all of them smoke dara. I used to accompany them to go and smoke dara. I used to go and accompany them to go and buy alcohol and drink alcohol. There was one day, I think we did one of the stupid things on this planet. They decided they wanted to go and smoke dara at the police station. And they wanted to provoke the police. And we went there and they smoked the dara at the police station. And by the grace of the Lord, our parents' prayers saved us because we could have arrested and had the criminal record because they were smoking dara, although I was not smoking dara, but I was amongst them. We went to varsity and at varsity they smoked dara, but they realized that because they were doing CA, it was not going to help them. They quit smoking dara so that they can be able to focus on their studies and so forth. So one of my anchors, therefore, by the grace of the Lord, I'm a very disciplined person because I was raised in such environment, and also I'm visionary and strategic. At the age of 30, I had my house. At the age of 30, I had 2 sons. At the age of 30, I had everything that I envisaged then. So now I'm driving Vision 2033. And it's in progress. That's one of the reasons why I came to the Arabic world, and I'm grateful for God for that opportunity. So I've got a 10-year vision that is based now on the personal leadership, like develop myself personally. I've got a personal like leadership vision on the areas that I want to work on in myself, like authenticity, boundaries, and all that, and so forth and so forth. And besides then, for the purpose that I'm serving for in my generation. And one of the anchors that make me to succeed was because of a teachable spirit. And I think it's because of how I was raised, and also I honor and I submit, and I believe in someone that I'm submitting to. I always believe that's to someone to mentor me. Even here, when I got here, I've already found someone that I'm going to be submitting to in terms of the mentorship here at work, where I'm working. And also now the areas of opportunities, because of subconsciously, because people decided for me and so forth and so forth. One of the areas that are opportunity that I need to work on, I decided to use this word like areas of opportunities, not to say like areas, not to negatively use the negative word, because one of the things that we do to ourselves is we speak mostly about the negative things that we do not want in our lives. By doing so, we end up having a negative energy, negative vibration, because every time we speak about the things that we do not want in our lives. So hence I use that word, the areas of opportunities, decision making. So one of the challenges that I have, that I'm trusting God, that I'm working on in my personal leadership journey, is decision making. So I know that there are dynamics of decision making, because one, you must have a data. You must have sufficient data about what you want to decide on. And secondly, you must look at, based on the data that you have to look at the decision that you are making, with the people that is going to affect them. How is it going to affect them? What impact is it going to have on their lives? Then after that, you have to look at the people that have made the same decisions, the decision that you're about to make. How did it turn in their life? Like how did it turn out? Like how did it work? What were the outcomes, or so that you can learn from other people? Then the other things that you have to consult the people that are going to be affected by the decision that you're going to make. So to find out like what is it, is it how is it going to affect them? And also you have to look at people like that you honor, people that you submit to. Are you open and be able to speak to them and about this decision that you want to make? So there are certain like fundamental things that I understand and I know that are important in terms of making a decision. Do I have all the important information I need to make this decision? And who is going to be affected by it, by my decision negatively? Have I discussed the decision like openly, and so forth and so forth? But I'm still having gaps. And the reason why I'm having gaps is because of how I was raised. Everything was decided for me. So like, you can't play football, you can't do this, you can't do that. Then the other areas of opportunity is failure deliver. I really struggle to deliver set news when the potatoes like are rotten. Like I find it very difficult. I work and work and work. If I come and deliver like set news, is like failure news, is because I've exhausted everything. I've done it all. I've done everything. And unfortunately, it is what it is. When I come to a person to say, hey, this thing didn't work, it means that I've exhausted. And I think the reason why is because of that is because I was raised in an environment that we worked very hard. So failure for us was not an option. And also I work very hard on things. That's why when I've worked and I've gone to present a debate, so this year, my foundation went to finals for 2 bids. One for a a million funding from a Dale Foundation organization in USA. We made it in top 3, and unfortunately, we were not chosen. It was such a difficult moment of my life to accept like that we fell short, although I thought we gave it all, and and so forth and so forth. And second one, we got hit by Silulo. We're supposed to set up business incubation in a community. We went there to the final, and also we fell short there. It was very hard for me, and so forth and so forth. So as much as also difficult for me to deliver failure, it's also difficult for me to accept failure. It's not an easy thing for me to accept it because of how I was raised and so forth and so forth, and because of how subconsciously I was raised and developed. So then the other area I need to work on, I do say thank you, but sometimes I just find that I don't like pay enough attention in terms of expressing gratitude, like because I'm always chasing to God. Every time I come to God, I always come with another order, another order. Like last week, I was coming with like there was a pressing order that I was pushing for, and so while I was on that, and something dawned into my spirit that, hey, Budi, can you just like also be grateful of what the Lord has done for the foundation up to so far, and so forth and so forth. So then one of my the journeys of my success, besides my anchors, it is education and learning. Education is very important. It has helped me to the kind of person that I am. So today I'm serving in the board of directors. I know how to put a board pack. I know how to prepare for a board meeting. I know what you need to do when. I know how to present a board, how data is presented, and how decisions are made based on presenting the genre of the communication on how you speak in the board meeting and how you present yourself and how you present the data. It is because of the education and also due to mentorship. Of my mentor, he serves to more than 7 board executives in South Africa. So by the grace of the Lord, he's the person that has really done a lot for me, apart from God and my family. That has done a lot for me in terms of where I am, in terms of growth and development, and also because of hard work, and also because I'm an agile person. I've got an ability to learn and like quickly move. And corporate dynamics, I know how corporate works, how people think. I know how to prepare, how decisions, how if I want to go and push a particular decision, how shall I prepare for that, and so forth and so forth. And the ability to capture the seed and know the times. Like for instance, I am here, but I know this breakthrough. I received it last year when I was driving with one of my friends to pick up a car, and on that day, I was playing like a Hello Joy. It's a new horizon. I was listening to that song, and I knew I captured that day that the Lord has delivered my breakthrough, and I knew that like I've got that ability to capture the seed and know, okay, this is the time. So in closing, so I'm serving in the board of directors from a village as a shepherd, and all that as my journey to. I'm also. We can go to the next slide. So I own a foundation. My foundation owns this building. We instill hope and purpose into the lives of young ones, and I'm able to develop people. That is why I left that foundation. I've led people, I've developed people, I've equipped people. So they're able to run with that foundation without me. I'm just serving now on the board of the foundation. The foundation is an oil well running machine. They don't need me. It works there. There's systems. I've developed processes for them. So we can go to the second slide. So that is how it looks like on the on the inside. That was outside of it. So I think I will pause in there. So one of the things that I've learned about the dangers of the subconsciousness is once it has programmed you, and there are certain things that some people they embed in them. So for instance, you might embed fear. So and now what happens is what you fear is what you attract. For example, a person will fear to date a broke person, like a broke man or like a broke whatever, and they will always be ending up dating a broke person. Like a person will fear dating like a abusive person, and they will always end up dating an abusive person. They leave this relationship, they go to that relationship. And why is that? Is because what you are ignoring in life will always show up. it's what is manifesting in your life. So you need to deal with that. So I think in closing, we we are created in God image. So we are creators. We can create the world we want to see. We can create the life that we want to see. As per the book of words, Psalm 82, verse 6, that you are God, the sons of the Most High God. So I think let me leave it there, then I will be available for questions and comments.
Wow, wow, wow. No, thank you. Thank you, good sir. Thank you, good sir. No, you've traveled a journey, hey, from the village to the world. Yeah, from the village to the world. Very well done, sir. Very well done. Inspiring story. And by the way, he does have a book that goes deeper into his journey. Are there any questions? Please just unmute and pose your question or comment or thoughts, please. Honorable members, okay.
Yes.
I have a question.
Who speak? Oh, yes, yes, Dr. Timkul.
Oh, okay. Greetings, Bazalwane, and thank you, Babu Menze, for such a wonderful journey. Wow. I have a couple of questions. I don't know which one to start with, but wow, this is a very, very interesting journey. I was thinking as you're speaking there, I'm thinking about um your journey, kakhulukazi masusu school, when you get to the university, because if I understand what you're saying is that while you were at home, most of the decisions were made by your parents as to what is it, how you're going to live your life. And I was thinking, Wuti, when you get to the university, where now your parents are not there, they are far away from you because you're at the university, didn't you find yourself in a position where maybe you thought, they are away now, it's my time to make my own decisions, and then maybe ending up doing things that are opposite lezi bezilindelwe ukuthi abazali bebezilindelwe abazali tuzowenza? I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay, yes. Thank you, for the question. Okay, I think on one of the slides, I did mention that one of the things that they did to me in the process was to instill like a very disciplined system. So hence I was with guys that smoked dara, I would go with them, alcohol and all these things. And I would live amongst them and I'll be fine and I will not have any issues. So where it affected me in terms of the decision is because of they were making decisions for me is sometimes I take too long to decide. By the time that I decide, I just take too long to decide. More damage has been done or more damage has been caused. So there are things that when I sit, I think, hey, this one, if I would have decided earlier than now, things would not have been this way. And now then that is the other part, the extreme part. And the other extreme part is I'm boxed up when I have decided like to come and convince me it's not an easy thing because I take time to decide. So now when I do therefore decide, so I think therefore what helped me therefore adversity was because of the grounding that I had. I came like from a very strong religious and a grounded family that instilled discipline. I think that's what it was, just by the grace of the Lord. I cannot pinpoint and say that, hey, I could have done that, because the guys were going to clubs and all those things. So like for instance, I could go with them to a club, but I was just so lost when I was there. Like I couldn't like even move a leg. I would just stand I'll just have my Powerade or water. And when I'm tired, I'll just go home and go and sleep while they're doing all these things that they're doing. So I think I had a very disciplined system.
No, thank you. I don't know if I can ask another question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Another question is, you sound like a well-read, somebody, and you read a lot and you work very hard. And my thinking, the question I have for you is, how do you deal with a situation where you find, would say, sometimes you know more than the people abagilida, maybe at work you feel like your boss is a little bit backward in terms of knowledge, or maybe a church, or maybe you have a group of people, but kuna someone who is your leader in that group, but he doesn't have the knowledge that you have. You feel like he's a little bit backward, he's a little bit slow. How do you deal with that?
Uh, it's it's a very interesting question, because, for instance, now I'm working in the kingdom. So here they live, their life is very religious. So there is the honor here. Like, for example, if I report to Usisma Bongi and Usisma Bongi reports to you, if I come to you without going to Usisma Bongi, it's like I've accepted, I've clicked back on the email, and like it's something huge. Like how did it happen? How did I skip Sisma Bongi and go to her superior? Like, even when I send an email, I can never CC her superior. It is only her that can CC that person. So now back to your question is, by the grace of the Lord, so what happened was I worked like abroad, like a lot. I worked in Burkina Faso, I've worked in Botswana, I've worked in Lesotho. So when you arrive in these countries, you come there, you know most of the time better than they know, but because you have to honor them, because you are there to support them. So you come there. So what I do, I always take the back, like, as much as I have so much information, I know how things we can do and so forth and so forth. I serve, like I sit on the back seat, because I know that my time will come. So when my time has come, and it does happen, I like, for instance, here, I got here, now I've been given a project. They're saying that I need to open market for companies outside the kingdom. So now I need to go, I must look for companies like in South Africa. They're asking for companies like, because we want to open the market across Africa now, because the people that are supplying services to them has been predominantly it's Egyptians, it's Indians, it's Chinese, and so forth and so forth. So they want to include the African scope, the South African scope. So when I come, like, I mean, even the people that I work with, like the people who are my senior here, like they are not even in my senior. By the time I graduated, the time I was a junior engineer, they were still going to high school. So what I do, therefore, I wait for my time. I put myself like under, like I submit and I submit and I submit, and I find it fine, because I know my time is coming. When my time comes, then I'm ready. When they give me something, an opportunity for me to lead something, and eventually they give it to you, even though they might be reluctant at first and reluctant. However, if I get an opportunity to be in a platform or in a meeting, I am able to. A meeting is an opportunity where I get an opportunity to share my ideas in a way that is very honoring. I honor and I give credit to the people for the work that they've done. I always do that. I say, well done, you have done very well, and so forth and so forth. Then I come with my suggestion. So I drop my stuff, but before I drop it, I firstly lift them. and I drop it under them. So that's how I do it. Like even when I've got ideas now, some of the ideas I don't share them on the meeting. I go and share them with my leader and say like, this is what I'm thinking. Is like, oh, this is a brilliant idea. You are welcome. Go and share it, because I also don't want to be like I'm above him. So I give him his honor, and like I think I've mentioned on my slides. One of the things about me, I find it easier for me to submit. Yeah, at times like you do get agitated by like oh, this person, what is doing should not be doing this thing this way. But like I always give myself that my time is going to come. When my time comes, then I'll be able to help it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. That's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Numisa, you had unmuted. You still have a question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. What a great presentation, and just letting us into your life, Fundis. I just want to find out what drove you to also become a pastor? Looking in hindsight, that there were so many restrictions that you had because of irreligion. I just would like to understand that. Was it something that was expected of you as well, or it's a decision you just took?
Okay.
Thank you.
You know, the funny part is I grew up in a very religious family, because I was forced to go to church and so forth and so forth. And unfortunately, my father lost work when I was very still young. So I grew up in a very, very poor family. In order for us to survive, in order for us to have the next meal, we had the next meal because someone offered, like from the community and so forth and so forth. And that made me to believe that there is no God. Um, and I used to I therefore I was like, okay, that I think now we are clear that God does not exist. If God existed, I've never seen a person pray as much as you pray. And if God was existing, you wouldn't be as poor as you are. You should be a multimillionaire, because I've never seen a person like that. So now they wanted me, therefore, now to be born again. And by then, that time, I just said to them, no, I don't believe that God exists. And they tried, I think they sent a couple of pastors to try and convince me. But there's one thing that never left me was prayer. I believed in prayer, even though I didn't have that belief, not so much belief in God, because of what we went through as a family. So therefore, I used to say to myself, I'll go to church once a month, and I believed that prayer will give me enough strength for the whole month. So how it came about being a pastor, then I got part of my journey. I got married at a young age. And the reason why I got married at a young age was because of my late father got my younger brother at a very old age. And I was like, my father's committing a genocide. He's not working, and now he has a child. And I said, I don't want this happening to my life. I want, by this age, I must be done with children and so forth. Then I got married to my first wife. So, I think after 2 years of marriage, then my wife sat down with me and told me, I don't love you. I never loved you. And I married you for wrong reasons. I married you for financial support, and I'm miserable. And it took me 3 years to accept that she doesn't love me. And in that journey, therefore, that is how actually, that's how, therefore, I went to God. That's when I've never prayed as I prayed that season. I've never fasted as I fasted that season. I've never prayed for a person as I prayed for my first wife. I don't know like how many fasting we had. My father was very supportive. He would travel from Eastern Cape to come to me, to a point that they wanted me to leave my work and stop working and go home, because they thought this thing is gonna kill me because of how much I loved my wife. And they tried to convince me, I must leave this wife because this wife's gonna kill me in this process because of what was happening. So in that process, therefore, I built like I had a very close relationship with the Lord. Then the Lord began to speak to me uh, in after 3 years. Then after 3 years now, of course, God started speaking to me in 2010 about my calling, and I began to communicate therefore with my spiritual father then, the pastor where I received Christ Jesus as the Lord and Savior. And after that, like everywhere I went, like people come to me and say that God has called you. When are you starting the work of God, and so forth and so forth. And to a point that the people gave churches to me that I must lead them. And I said, no, thank you. It's a huge responsibility because to lead a church is too much. I appreciate what you are doing, but unfortunately, it's a huge responsibility. I need God to speak to me. I'm that kind of a person that even when I'm confronted with decision, when I'm gonna like even to come here, it took so long for me to come here. I took 3 months praying about it until God spoke to me, and I have a way that I will say to God, the only way that you can help me, God, just give me the word in whatever season that I'm confronted by whatever situation or so forth. So how I came about pastor, then it's my first marriage that broke me, and in that moment, then I built a relationship with the Lord, and the Lord meant me. In that process, then God began to speak to me. Then He gave me an agenda. He gave me like a vision. He gave me like a template. I've got a vision. I know where God has called me, where I must go and church plant churches and so forth and so forth. I'm driving a vision to church plant 12 churches globally and to set up 12 youth centers. And those churches, God showed me the nations that I must go and church plant in 2010. So it was like my journey, God just called me like through that season.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, it's always so interesting how most of us meet God in trouble. You know, I really wish we can, you know, be close to him, go right and the sun is shining. But Nami, I met him, you know, in that kind of season. Mabongi, do you have some closing remarks? Because we're just over time, and if there are any closing remarks, Mabongi, feel free, and then I think we can close.
I think I didn't see that testimony coming, Mla. Each time I want to say something after such thing, I feel like I'm gonna, you know, tone it down. So I would withhold everything that I had just so that to live this on a high note. So thank you.
Hayi ke sibongile mfundisi phela bese khuluma umfundisi singaphinde sithini ngoba seyiphumile leza inkomishi ezingajwayele ukuphuma. All right. No, thank you so much, Du, for making time. Thank you for sharing your journey. Thank you. You know, one thing that I became really aware of is, you have such clarity on your areas of opportunities. And I think most of us are reflecting on what are those areas that maybe we can work on and improve. And I think that's part of the big reason why we all part of LPG community in terms of learning these things, improving ourselves, because that's how we grow. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your time, your experience, your journey, and your vulnerability. I think you shared some very personal things that really do add that personal touch and authenticity. So thank you so much. Everybody, thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of the week. Tomorrow is Friday, and have a pleasant weekend. And we will see you next week for another session of the Culture Shock series. Thank you so much.